Hello, Bama fans. Could this be unexpected? Proctor could be back soon and very soon. This could be unexpected for some and for everyone. Great news. After all, how is this guy doing? Let's talk a little about this, but first subscribe to the channel to receive more news. Alabama football has received a long-awaited update on Kadyn Proctor's condition, and the news couldn't be more welcome for fans and the team. Head coach Kalen DeBoer announced in a press conference that Proctor's return is very close to happening, possibly as early as this weekend for the crucial matchup against Wisconsin. This announcement comes as a significant relief to Crimson Tide fans. Proctor, the star left tackle on the offensive line, has been a key part of protecting the quarterback and making the run game effective. His absence has been felt since the first game of the season, when he suffered a shoulder injury during pre-game warm-ups against Western Kentucky, which sidelined him for the first 2 games of the season. Although Alabama easily overcame Western Kentucky, Proctor's absence was most noticeable in the matchup against South Florida, where the offensive line struggled. Proctor's absence was especially evident during 53.5 minutes of play against South Florida, where Alabama failed to bring its physicality to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't until Elijah Pritchett came in with 6:45 remaining that the Tide finally took control, opening up a 42-16 lead, a score that didn't reflect how tight the battle was for much of the game. That late return of control was a reminder of how critical a solid offensive line is to the success of DeBoer's game plan, and Proctor's potential return is welcome news for stabilizing that unit. If all goes as expected and Proctor is fit to play against Wisconsin, Alabama will have the opportunity to reshape its offensive line with a more robust lineup, possibly with Proctor on the left, Tyler Booker, Parker Brailsford, J.Dan Roberts and Elijah Pritchett filling out the lineup. This setup promises to provide the necessary solidity to pave the way in the run game and ensure that the Tide quarterbacks have enough time to work on the passing game, something that has been lacking in the early rounds. Proctor's return, even if not yet 100% confirmed for this Saturday, is already an encouraging sign for the team, especially with the matchup against Georgia fast approaching. The game in Madison will be crucial for Alabama, which is still trying to find its true identity this season. With a full and functioning offensive line, the Crimson Tide will have a better chance to implement its physical and dominant style of play, something that has always been a trademark of the team. In addition to Proctor, another key player facing injury problems is wide receiver Cole Adams, who suffered an arm injury during the game against South Florida. DeBoer revealed that Adams will be limited in practice during the week and that his participation in the next game is uncertain. While his absence isn't definitive, the coach preferred to be cautious and not completely rule out the possibility of Adams playing, although it seems unlikely that he will be on the field this Saturday. Elijah Pritchett, on the other hand, came through the battle against South Florida unscathed and is a solid option to start at right tackle if Proctor does return. The combination of Pritchett and Proctor could significantly strengthen the protection of the offensive line's sides, something that is essential to the success of any offense. Of course, DeBoer's statements do not guarantee that we will see Kadyn Proctor back on the field against Wisconsin, but the prospect is exciting. The mere fact that his return is being considered for this weekend is already excellent news for Alabama fans. If he is not ready to play now, his presence against Georgia on September 28 seems much more likely, and that could be the deciding factor in one of the most anticipated games of the season. Alabama, under the leadership of Kalen DeBoer, is looking to solidify its offensive line and rediscover the physical style of play that has always characterized the program. Proctor's return could be just what the Crimson Tide needs to restore confidence and impose its rhythm on games, especially against opponents as challenging as Wisconsin and, soon, Georgia. Let's move on. After a challenging 42-16 win over South Florida, Alabama football found itself reflecting on one of its most critical areas, the offensive line. The line's performance was marred by 8 penalties that cost the team 70 yards, including 2 that negated touchdowns, creating a wave of frustration for the team. Amid this scenario, Tyler Booker, one of the leaders of this unit, had a clear message for his teammates: unload and move on. Did you see it? This message was especially directed at Wilkin Formby and the other members of the offensive line, who faced considerable adversity throughout the game. Alabama committed a total of 13 penalties that resulted in 120 lost yards, a significant problem that needs to be fixed. But, as Booker pointed out, the only thing his teammates can control now is how they prepare for the next challenge. What he can work on, what he can control is how he shows up this coming Saturday, Booker said during a press conference. It's a mindset focused on progress and learning that's essential for a team looking to stay on top. Despite the mistakes, the offensive line showed signs of recovery in the final minutes of the game. In the final 10 minutes, the Crimson Tide finally found its rhythm, resulting in a 28-3 run that sealed the victory. Jam Miller and Justice Haynes both contributed game-winning touchdown runs, with Miller rushing for 56 yards and Haynes adding 22, making up for the team's meager 34 yards on the ground in the first half in a matter of minutes. Booker explained that tactical adjustments made on the sideline were key to the late comeback. "We just learned some things they were doing schematically," he said. "We made some adjustments on the sideline, and that allowed those holes to open up." He also stressed the unit's commitment to correcting its mistakes. "We're letting this team down as a unit, and we need to fix that." That commitment to collective responsibility is a key characteristic of a top-notch offensive line, and Booker believes the team has what it takes to overcome these challenges. "We're going to fix this, and we're going to fix our mistakes right now," he said confidently. This season has been particularly challenging for Alabama's offensive line, which has already undergone a number of changes. Just before the opener against Western Kentucky, left tackle Caden Proctor was ruled out with a shoulder injury, forcing Elijah Pritchett to take over. Proctor's injury had a ripple effect that continued in the game against South Florida, when Booker, normally the team's left guard, was moved to left tackle while Geno Vandemark took Booker's spot at left guard. These sudden changes in the lineup speak to the team's adaptability and depth, something Booker sees not as a problem but as an opportunity. He said he always knew there was a chance he would play left tackle against the Bulls and was prepared for it. "I played left tackle in high school," Booker said. "Obviously, it's a lot different playing in front of 100 to 100,000 fans, but I'm a ball player." Booker's flexibility and ability to play multiple roles on the offensive line have been vital to the team. "You can put me at guard, tackle, receiver, wherever you need me. I'm going to play ball, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability," he added. That mindset is what separates the average players from the greats, and Booker seems determined to lead by example. With the struggles so far, offensive line coach Chris Kapilovic is focused on correcting past mistakes, but not dwelling on them. According to Booker, Kapilovic has emphasized the need to practice harder and better, seeking a continuous learning process. "That's the great thing about Coach Cap," Booker said. "He's easy to learn from. The team is determined to use the adversity so far as a lesson. I'm glad we've gone through this adversity so we can learn from it in the future," Booker said. This proactive approach will be essential for Alabama football to continue improving and prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. Game on! Let's move on! When Alabama football travels to Wisconsin this weekend, concerns about the team's ability to handle a hostile environment seem less relevant for a team accustomed to facing challenges in large stadiums. While Camp Randall has a reputation for being a loud and intimidating place, the Crimson Tide have the experience and preparation to keep up. Veteran players have faced similarly intimidating atmospheres in road games against LSU, Tennessee, Texas A&M and Auburn, places where noise and pressure are nothing new. What really sets this matchup against Wisconsin apart from other past challenges for Alabama is the absence of a dynamic quarterback on the opposing team. In recent years, the Tide's road losses have come against mobile and skilled quarterbacks like Tennessee's Hendon Hooker and LSU's Jaden Daniels. Both have given Alabama's defense trouble with their ability to escape pressure and create explosive plays. Wisconsin quarterback Tyler Van Dyke simply doesn't offer that kind of threat. While Van Dyke has shown potential throughout his career, he lacks the mobility that Hooker or Daniels possess, which gives Alabama's defense a distinct advantage. Additionally, Wisconsin's offensive line is nowhere near as dominant as other teams that have given Alabama trouble in the past. Texas, for example, relied on a high-level performance from Quinn Ewers last season to beat the Tide, but there's no indication that Van Dyke can replicate that kind of epic performance. The lack of skilled players capable of making game-changing plays for Wisconsin should also be a limiting factor in any attempts to pull off an upset. One of the keys to Alabama securing a comfortable victory will be to neutralize the crowd's impact as quickly as possible. History shows that underdogs who can keep a game close to the end often have the support of the crowd to pull off an unexpected comeback. However, if Alabama can score early and establish its dominance, the atmosphere at Camp Randall could quickly become irrelevant. That means a fast start, with efficient scoring offense and a defense that can stop the opposing offense on third downs, will be crucial. Last week's tough win against South Florida may have been the wake-up call Alabama needed. There's no way the team is going to go into this game against Wisconsin unfocused, especially after the struggles it's faced. The inconsistent performance against USF could even serve as a valuable lesson, as it forces the team to correct its mistakes and enter with a more determined mindset. Overall, the stage is set for Alabama to not only win, but to do so in convincing fashion. With a defense capable of neutralizing Wisconsin's predictable offense and an offense prepared to exploit the Badgers' defensive weaknesses, the Crimson Tide has everything it needs to control the pace of the game from the start. There's no doubt that Alabama has the tools to avoid any late drama like we saw last week and secure a clean sweep before its bye week. This matchup serves as an important test for Alabama, but one that, with the right approach, shouldn't pose too many challenges. Let's focus on the victories and move forward. Alabama has always been a different team under Saban. Now, under new coach Kalen DeBoer, the question is, can DeBoer fix those issues and return Alabama to absolute dominance, no matter where they play? This Saturday against Wisconsin, DeBoer has a chance to begin redefining what it means for Alabama to play on the road. While the environment in Madison is known for being challenging, the Tide's history of success in tough places suggests that the team can, and should, come away with a win. More than that, a convincing win would be a huge confidence boost for fans who are still evaluating whether DeBoer is the right successor to fill the big shoes left by Saban. In the height of the Saban era, it didn't matter where Alabama played or who the opponent was. The team simply took the field, dominated, and came away with a win. Iconic moments like the 2015 win over Georgia or the 2016 rout of Tennessee demonstrated Alabama's ability to silence crowds and impose itself. Away games were a formality, with the Crimson Tide maintaining a level of consistency few programs could match. But over the past 3 years, that unbeaten streak on the road has begun to show cracks. Alabama narrowly escaped a loss to Florida in 2021, needing to stop a 2-point conversion in the final minutes. Later that year, an upset loss to Texas A&M and a close battle with Auburn in the Iron Bowl showed that the Tide's struggles in opposing stadiums were becoming a reality. The scenario repeated itself in 2022, with a narrow win over Texas, followed by a heartbreaking loss to Tennessee and another to LSU. While Alabama's road record is still impressive, with a 79% win rate since 2021, it marks a significant drop from a decade ago, when the team won 90% of its road games. That difference may not seem like a big deal, but in the context of a program that prides itself on its consistent superiority, it's a notable drop. This Saturday, Alabama will face one of the most challenging environments in college football. The team is known for being a loud and hostile stadium, but recent history suggests that Wisconsin hasn't exactly been an impenetrable fortress against elite opponents. Wisconsin is 1-9 at home against top 10 opponents, and its last win against a ranked non-conference opponent was in 1974. That puts Alabama in a strong position to pick up a win, even in what is traditionally an intimidating environment. Additionally, Wisconsin has started the season with 2 wins, but both were against much inferior opponents, and the victories, while comfortable, weren't exactly convincing. This suggests that Alabama, if it plays to its potential, should have little trouble dominating the game. The key to Alabama's success in this game, and in its future road games, will be Kalen DeBoer's ability to implement changes that address the team's recent shortcomings. DeBoer has brought a new energy and a different approach to the program, and his impact will be tested when the Crimson Tide faces challenges in hostile locations. If he can adjust the team's mindset and reduce the anxiety that has plagued Saban's past teams, Alabama could resume its dominant road course. Looking ahead, the Tide will face even tougher tests on trips to Knoxville, Baton Rouge and Norman, but the Wisconsin game will be an early indicator of how the team can fare away from home in this new era. For DeBoer, this is the time to prove that Alabama is still an unstoppable powerhouse no matter where it plays, and that he is the right leader to continue the Crimson Tide's legacy of success. And what will Kalen DeBoer's disposition be like? We hope for the best possible. Bama quarterback Jalen Milroe recently shared some heartwarming details about the strong family bond that has shaped his career. Did you see it? This story is so interesting. He especially highlighted his father's tireless support. In an interview on the Pivot podcast, Milroe described how his father, deeply involved in his football journey, faces the same stress and anxiety that Jalen himself does, to the point where he can't sleep the night before Alabama games. This level of commitment is something that transcends just being on the field. The Milroe family, as the young quarterback reveals, has never missed a single Alabama game, whether Jalen was on the field or not. It's a clear demonstration of how invested his parents are not only in his athletic success, but also in his personal journey, offering constant support without imposing undue pressure. Milroe's father's impact goes beyond the stands. A former U.S. Navy SEAL, he helped instill in Jalen a disciplined and goal-oriented mindset that has been instrumental in the young athlete's development. This type of upbringing, in a military-inspired environment, gave Jalen a clear understanding of the importance of both long-term goals and the small steps needed to achieve them. For Jalen, this family support is crucial, but he also understands that the true driving force for success comes from within. He recalls his father always teaching him a key lesson: "I can't ask for more than you." This same message was reinforced by his mother, who made it clear that while support is essential, it is up to Jalen to pursue excellence through his own motivation and self-discipline. This lesson of autonomy is what Jalen says has shaped his determination and focus in his development as an Alabama quarterback. The constant presence of his family not only at games, but also in his daily life, helps create a solid foundation for Jalen Milroe to excel on the field. In times of difficult decisions, such as career changes or life choices, his father continues to be a cornerstone, offering guidance as Jalen navigates the ups and downs of a college football career. With expectations high heading into recruiting season, Milroe is in the spotlight, considered one of the most promising quarterbacks to watch. His performance on the field will be a reflection of not only his skill and talent, but also the solid foundation and values his family has helped to build. The pressure is always present in college football, but with such a solid support system and the principles of self-determination he learned at a young age, Jalen Milroe appears prepared to take on any challenge Alabama throws his way. Milroe's journey continues, and as he works to reach his full potential with the Crimson Tide, the influence and support of his family, especially his father, remain essential pillars to his success. This guy has a future. What are your thoughts on Milroe? Comment below.